Okay, that going. Okay, awesome, awesome. So if you all would like to mute, please feel free. We will look for questions in the chat, and then we'll give you an opportunity toward the end to ask questions as we go along. So first up, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for your patience and for being here tonight. I'm Jennifer Seven. I'm the owner of Seven Company Weight Loss and Wellness. I am a wellness coach, a nutritionist, a meditation teacher, and I've been helping people for the last 15 years lose weight, get healthy, and I am very excited to be your moderator tonight. We have some wonderful presenters who are going to walk us through what GLP-1s are all about, the truth about them, the facts, and then we're going to bust some myths, and we're going to really emphasize how these can be used effectively as a tool to help you. So that being said, I will get started. I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Roy. She is the medical director and owner of Nyan Med Spa. She is a board certified internist. She specializes also in aesthetics, hormones, and obesity medicine, and has a lot of experience with GLP-1s. So I'm going to turn it over to her. She's going to really walk you through what GLP-1s are all about and how they work. So thank you, Dr. Roy, for being here, and thank you to everyone else for your patience.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that introduction, and welcome everybody. So glad to see you guys here. So I'm just going to share my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yep. Yes.
Oh, hold on. I'm challenged right now. Sorry.
It's been a day.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna just go dive right into it. I am an internal medicine physician by training. And I am working on my board certification with the American Board of Obesity Medicine. But I've been doing weight loss in my practice for a few years now with some really good success. So one thing, the way I like to kind of talk to my patients is there's a couple of reasons why obesity happens. Obesity is something that first starts off in the brain. So we're all born with two pathways, one of hunger and one of satiety. Um, and it just depends on how much you're firing down which pathway. Um, our hunger pathway is always going to be our default. So but the issue with obesity is that some people just fire down that hunger pathway more than they do satiety. So that means those are those people that kind of come to me and say, hey, you know what? I just can't stop eating. I eat as I have had a 22-year-old girl today that said, I can eat as much as my dad and my younger brother. It just doesn't turn off. So she doesn't know when to stop. So her hunger pathway is just firing a lot more than her satiety pathway. There's other environmental factors that she had that was part of her eating that we discussed in her exercises that she needs to think about, and I'll get to that later. So first thing I like to tell people is it's not about willpower. It has to do with your biology. So this is something that, there's some people that just can't help. No matter what they do, they're just going to have a really hard time losing weight. So that's why you could eat a salad all day long. There's some people that can eat salads and fruit and be extremely healthy and just not lose the weight. And then there's some people that can eat burgers and fries and, drop 10 pounds. I know myself, I can look at a Snickers bar and probably gain 10. So without even eating it. So I'm sure my hunger pathway is like always firing. That stupid thing just doesn't turn off. So I've put this slide in because the issue with diabetes globally is rising. So that's telling me as diabetes rises, obesity is going to rise. So this is a problem globally. It's going to be up to 46. I think that number is even higher now. But by 2045, there's going to be 783 million people that are suffering from diabetes. And most likely, the majority of them are going to be struggling with obesity. So what does obesity cause? Obesity causes all of these issues. So type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, it increases your risk for cancer. It increases your risk for mood disorders because there's a dysregulation in your hormones. It causes heart disease, reproductive disorders, hypertension, liver issues. So if we can treat obesity, we can decrease the risk factors for all of these diseases. So it's really like, kill 10 birds with one stone. So when we talk about obesity, we're talking about BMI. Unfortunately, BMI is just a stupid tool that we have to follow in order to classify where you fall on that chart. BMI is also the BMI that we use here is really for individuals that are Caucasian. It does not factor in people that are, let's say, Asian or Southeast Asian or African American, Black. It's not factoring in any of that stuff. For people that are of African American background, they're going to have more muscle mass. Their BMI is going to be higher, but they may be healthier because they carry more muscle. For somebody that's Southeast Asian, a BMI that falls in the normal range of an American is actually considered obese for Southeast Asians. So a Southeast Asian that has a BMI of 24 is obese because the bone structure is different, the muscle mass is different. So again, BMI is a tool that we are forced to use, but there's also all these other factors that we do have to take into consideration when treating each individual with whatever modality we're choosing to use. So to the GLP1s. So the GLP1s, there are two on the market right now, a third that's being used also. We're going to talk about the two main ones, which are semaglutide and tirzepatide. So semaglutide is your Wegovy and Ozempic. Ozempic and Wegovy are both GLP1s, and I'm just going to refer to them as semaglutide because it's just easier. Tirzepatide is your Mounjaro and Zepbound. Again, they're the same exact medication, but Mounjaro and Zepbound are GLP, they work on the GLP-1 receptor and the GIP receptor. The different one is, so Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide, and Ozempic, which is semaglutide, they were first used for diabetes. Then they realized, oh my gosh, there's this side effect of weight loss, and it's a lot of weight loss. Let's rebrand and call it Wegovy and Zepbound. So that's how all of those medications came into play. The way that both of the medications work is it slows down your GI tract. So this is a first step. Slows down your GI tract so you're eating less food and it's keeping you full for a much longer period of time. The second mechanism of action that it has is it turns off those cravings. So if you are craving chocolate chip cookies all the time, you just really don't want them anymore. And if you do have them, the quantity that you eat is nowhere near what you were eating before. So maybe a half a cookie is pretty much all you want. You feel satisfied and you stop. The third way that it works is this is where all of the fat loss happens. So the third way that it works is it increases your sensitivity to insulin. So insulin is a hormone that's released in the presence of glucose or sweetness. And when I say sweetness, I have a lot of people that are like, oh, so I can have Diet Coke. No, you can't. And I'm going to explain to you why those sugar-free substances are going to wreak havoc on your weight loss efforts. So insulin is released due to sweetness, um, and it's to get sugar into a cell, but it's also used to store fat. So when you eat something, insulin is, and sugar wants to come into a cell, insulin is going to come up to the cell. It's got a key. It wants to open the door for the cell to open so the sugar can go in to allow the cell to work. Sometimes that key doesn't fit. Now, when that key doesn't fit, the pancreas releases more insulin. It keeps releasing insulin until those cell doors open and the glucose can go in to allow the cell to function. When that happens, you have now all the sugar is into the cells, but there's all this extra floating insulin out in the blood vessels. So what's going to happen is insulin's going to start doing its second job, which is store fat. When you're on the medication, when you eat something, let's say, I don't know, a piece of cheese. Piece of cheese breaks down to glucose. The glucose is then sitting, waiting to get into the cell. Insulin is released. The insulin now has a master key that's going to open up that door and allow the sugar to go into the cell. There's no floating in extra insulin around that's going to store fat. The first scenario where the door's not opening it's called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance happens with yo-yo dieting. So losing 10, gaining 20, losing 20, gaining 30, going off this diet and onto this diet, but just really not being able to stay at a stable weight. It also happens from ultra processed foods. The reason I was saying about the sweetness is the second you drink or eat something that has artificial sweetener in it, your tongue talks to your brain. Your brain says, hey, pancreas, get ready, something sweet's coming. Because we're not built in a way where we can actually tell what it is. It's just a sensation. So the brain says, pancreas, something's coming that's sweet, release insulin. Insulin floods your system. And when that food or that Diet Coke is broken down, there's no sugar. So what ends up happening is you bottom out your blood sugar. You have all this insulin sitting there. What's it going to do? There's no sugar, so it's going to go store fat. Then as your blood sugar is dropping, your cortisol, which is your hormone, that's your stress hormone, that's going to increase your blood sugar, then that's going to go up. Your cortisol is going to cause your sugar to go up. So either that's going to happen or you're going to start eating something sweet to bring your blood sugar back up to where it needs to be. So that's why a lot of these diet sodas and stuff like that is just, it's not helping. Even though it's 0 calories, we're not a math equation. Our bodies don't function as math equations. It just doesn't work that way. So as far as semaglutide and tirzepatide are concerned, for weight loss, a lot of people want to know how much weight can I lose? With the semaglutide, you can lose about 15 to 18% total body weight. Tirzepatide, you can lose about 20 to 23 to 25% total body weight. So you can lose about 20 up to 25% total body weight with the tirzepatide. So it doesn't mean that that's the number where you just kind of stop and you can't lose any more weight. I've had patients that have lost anywhere from 25 to 30% total body weight with semaglutide. Oh gosh. Uh, this we don't need to go over, sorry. Well, I do want to mention one thing. Both of the GLP-1s, they do decrease inflammation. So there's a lot of research now with fatty liver. It's reversing fatty liver. It's reversing liver disease that's not caused by alcohol. It's reversing inflammation around your heart. So it is actually protecting your heart. It's protecting your liver. It's taking inflammation out of the blood vessels. It's taking pressure off of the heart. There's so many good things. It's actually decreasing inflammation in the gut, allowing us to absorb more with more ease. It's really taking inflammation out of a lot of things. People are saying that they're noticing that their joints feel a lot better because of this inflammatory decrease. So talking about environment, let's talk about this 22-year-old girl that came in today a little bit. A lot of the things that she was saying to me, her mom was in the room with her, and she was saying the mom kept overtaking the conversation. So there's things her mom kept saying, oh, well, I'm helping her. I'm making her make better choices. So people in our lives cause us to self-sabotage or judge ourselves in a different way. There's a lot of things mentally that can happen that can cause us to uh, eat the things that we know that we shouldn't. There's also things called your body, like your fat mass set point. So your body wants to be at a certain weight. You if you go on a vacation, let's say you're 190 pounds, you go on a vacation, you gain 10 pounds, it's very easy to get back to 190 because that's where your body wants to be. If you are 190 and you get down to 180, it's very easy to gain that 10 pounds to get back to where you want to be. So when you're on these GLP-1s, yes, we can get that weight off. We can. But you also have to sit in maintenance for at that goal weight that you're at for at least bare bones minimum 6 months. I prefer for my patients that have lost 100 plus pounds or even more, I mean, 60 plus pounds. I prefer for them to stay at goal weight for at least a year. Before that set point is, I can comfortably say, okay, you can probably do this on your own. But the second they start going, if they go up 5 to 10 pounds, they come right back to me to get it back down. So there's a lot of things at play that cause weight gain and weight loss. One thing that all of us do encourage our patients to do is lift weights. There are some weight loss plans that actually state that you shouldn't. And I get it. It's when you're lifting weights, the scale just doesn't move and it's discouraging. But especially for our GLP-1 patients, we do encourage them to lift weights. And they're lifting weights not only to build strength, but it's also to maintain their muscle mass. As we age, we're going to lose our muscle. It's inevitable. So the way I tell my patients is build it up knowing you're going to lose it as you age, because it's easier to maintain something than to gain something you never had. So we want them to keep lifting weights to maintain their muscle mass, to build their strength. Remember, the center of gravity is going to change also as you lose weight. So you're going to lose balance. That's a huge reason for why some people they're weaker on the GLP-1s because they're not doing it right. And then bone density. Bone density plays a huge role in this. So you can, with strength training alone, you can maintain your bone density. So that's something we don't want to lose. And especially for both men and women. Women, we lose our estrogen levels pretty quickly, especially when we're perimenopause, menopause, and then that bone density really gets affected. Uh, I'm not going to go into this. I think this is something that somebody else might be talking about, maybe. Um, do we say, are we going to do questions now or are we going to do questions later?
Uh, I think we'll do them later toward the end, but if anyone wants to put a question in the chat, then I'll pop it up to a presenter when we have a moment. So do you, I have a few questions if you're at a stopping point. Okay. So I think, Dr. Roy, a lot of people have things that they've heard about GLP-1s that are scary. Like, can you talk about some of the potential side effects, some of the concerns that you hear about or you get asked that are pretty common and you know, like being on them forever, maybe the thyroid, the pancreas, the
So common side effects would be constipation because the GI tract is slowing down, nausea and vomiting. Typically, the nausea is happening when we're going up in dose. Um, with our group here, we don't like to go up unless we absolutely have to. If you're losing a steady anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds a week, we're going to leave you alone. We use that bump in the dose for when you are plateauing. What was your other question, Jennifer?
some people are like, oh, if I get on these, I'm gonna have to be on them forever.
Maybe. You may have to. Again, it has to do with those two pathways, the hunger and satiety. If you are one of those patients that you're predominantly firing in that hunger pathway, you may need to be on something long term. Remember,
Just just like someone with diabetes
yeah, someone with
may have
diabetes,
to be.
somebody with high blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure and you get the blood pressure down, you're not taking the medicine away. You may have to decrease the dose a little bit. But some of these patients, yes, it may be a long-term um, medication that they're going to have to be on. Now, those patients that there's some people that we can get them off of it. Some people we can get them down to maybe once a month dosing. We are doing some where we're transitioning, at least in my practice, we're doing some where I transition them from maintenance to an oral medication, and they're doing really well. So it really depends on what your starting point is and what your journey has been with weight loss.
So can you also address the concerns about the thyroid and also the pancreas?
Yes. So with any diet or weight loss plan, you're at risk of developing gallstones. Gallstones, this is when I wish I had like a chalkboard. Gallstones, when a gallstone, it starts off like sand, almost like a sludge. So when that sludge gets pushed into the bile duct, once it gets pushed into the bile duct is very close to the entrance of the pancreatic duct. So sometimes what can happen is that sandy substance can get stuck in that pancreatic duct. And that's why people are having pancreas problems. It's more of a gallbladder issue. Again, with any diet or weight loss program, you can get gallstones. That's why we don't like for our patients to lose more than 1 to 3 pounds a week, because the faster you lose it, the more weight that you lose over a shorter period of time, it increases your risk for developing gallstones. As far as the thyroid, it doesn't cause any issues with the thyroid, but if there is a family history or a personal history of a certain type of thyroid cancer, it's a contraindication. So that is one of the big reasons. I would never prescribe it to somebody that's got that particular family history or personal history. Um, and pregnancy is definitely another contraindication.
Yes. And I think that speaks to how important it is that you are being supervised by a medical doctor. There's a lot of, it's like the wild, wild west out there a little bit right now. So you absolutely want to make sure that you are seeing a doctor to get approved before you get on these medications. Um, Dr. Roy, what about, can you talk about microdosing, what microdosing is and when it's appropriate?
I think microdosing should be the standard. Microdosing, all it means is using the smallest amount of medication to get the results that you want. Um, so when we get our my patients that are on the compounded medication, so it comes from a compounding pharmacy. It's not your Wegovy or Manjaro or Zepbound or Ozempic, but it is structurally it's semaglutide. And I can get into that could probably be a whole nother webinar. Um, when we do compounded GLP1s, I microdose because I can. And the reason I say it that way is because when we're doing the GLP1s using Zepbound and using Wegovy, and we're getting it through insurance coverage, insurance will only cover each dose for 4 weeks. So they are forcing us to move up, even though the patient's dropping weight on the lowest dose. That's when you come into problems. That's when you get the gallstones. That's when you get the severe nausea and vomiting, dehydration, things like that. But if you're microdosing and you can really control how much somebody is losing per week, um, it just sets them up for success, and it decreases their risk factors for having all these other issues.
Yes. And I think so many people are hearing, oh, this is like the magic bullet and I'm going to just, it's going to melt off. But realistically, what we want to see is that 1 to 3 pounds a
Well,
week.
yeah, we want to see the 1 to 3 pounds, but we also want you to do the mind work. If you're doing this and the hunger is completely gone and you don't ever feel hungry, so you're not eating, and then you're not really eating the right things, or you're not dealing with the reasons why you're eating, um, then when you come off of the medication, you're just going to gain it all back. And an example I can give for the reasons why you're eating, at 8 o'clock at night, I used to get called by my pantry. It would say, "Come, there's cookies in here." And I could never understand why exactly at 8 o'clock at night, my pantry was calling me. And finally, when I was on the GLP-1, I realized once that food noise was gone, I realized, oh my gosh, what was happening was I worked before. I used to work in the hospital. I would work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., come home, put my kids, because they were young at the time, put them in the bathtub, give them a bath, put them to bed, go downstairs, sit down to write my notes that I didn't get through during the day. And I was so exhausted, I would eat chocolate chip cookies to keep myself awake. Well, I'm not, the pantry was calling me so I could stay up and watch Netflix. So it's like, if you're not doing the work and you're not realizing why you've developed the habits that you've developed, like now back then I needed that habit because I had to get my work done, but I don't need that it doesn't serve me anymore. So if you're not figuring those things out, then you're just going to go back to your old habits, and they didn't work to begin with.
Mhm.
So
Right.
you have to do the work.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, Dr. Roy. And again, you guys can
Oh,
drop questions in the chat. But now what I'd like to do is, because that's a perfect segue, I'm going to bring it over to Anna Morris. So Anna Morris is a weight loss clinic owner. She has been helping her clients for years, and she's doing a lot of coaching around GLP-1 and nutrition. And so I want her to share from her perspective the best way that we can do this. So take it away, Anna.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Dr. Roy. And thank you for having me here, guys. This is so much fun because for once, and a lot of you, some of you are clients of mine and are very familiar with Ideal Protein, which is something that we're very passionate about. Why? Because it's a program that has worked before, and it was before we had GLP-1 meds, we had this amazing protocol and a diet that worked, right? And a lot of us have done it. What has become a challenge is, I tell a lot of my clients, they go, do you think this is for me? And I go, this is definitely for you, because if you've done ideal protein or any diet once or twice, doing it a third or fourth time is very hard to do. One, because your body is in a different place. Mentally, you're like, I don't think I can do this like this anymore. So these things are game changers to help us do a diet better. And it's not even just a diet, but a lifestyle, right? Because I tell people, treat these GLP-1s like, how our little kids, they want to ride their bike and you got the little training wheels, right? Because you don't want them to fall over. But eventually they get so good at riding their bikes, you go, okay, now you're ready. We can take the training wheels off, and the wheels come off and there they go, right? That's kind of how, for me, coaching all my clients that are on GLP-1s and alongside Dr. Roy, it's fantastic because we really can keep people at a low dose. What's the point? Keeping people at a low dose with really proper nutrition should give you great results. What I have seen before with a lot of my clients that were doing it with their doctors, they were at the highest dose possible and had only lost a very tiny percentage of the weight they should have lost without even getting to that high point, right, Dr. Roy? And then eventually they had nowhere to go but either change to, move from semaglutide to tirzepatide, or they were tapped out, their insurance wasn't covering it anymore, so now they have nowhere to go. So not necessary. To me, nutrition and coaching go hand in hand. These medications are tools, or little tools in your toolbox, right? So that they help you do what we can't do by ourselves. Just what Dr. Roy was saying, they help you stay fuller longer. They take away the food chatter so that you're not at 8 o'clock, you have dinner at 7 o'clock, and you can sit there, have dinner, and be done, and you're not snacking until 10 o'clock, right? Or you get home from driving in traffic and you're like, okay, where's the wine bottle? Open up the wine, or let's have some snacks. Or the kids are eating something and we're munching on the snacks that the kids are eating, right? So I have a client that loves gummy bears. She's like a gummy bear addict. And so there's a lot of these little things that don't help us. One of the common mistakes that I feel that people make in nutrition is that we don't eat enough protein, right? So these medications keep you from being hungry. But when you do get hungry, because you do, and we don't want to turn off the hunger trigger, right? Because if you're never hungry, that's how you see people that look like they're eating themselves. Like, listen, like they're basically like their muscles gone. But a lot of times their diet is not good. They're eating carbs. Yeah, they may be eating little bits, but they're not eating enough protein. And if you don't eat enough protein, your muscles don't understand fruits and vegetables. They only understand protein. And if you're not feeding the body the right components and the right macros, you actually are undernourished and malnourished, right? And over time, if you lose muscle on the scale, if you're at home doing this on your own, which a lot of people are, they're losing weight and they're so excited, they're on their scale, but you don't even know what weight you're losing. Is it fat? Is it muscle? These medications don't burn fat directly. They're not fat burners. They don't do that. What they do is they help you follow a diet or a diet intervention that allows you to burn fat, right? So it's not like they're these magical things. They have to be worked properly or they don't work. And you have to be patient. I tell people this all the time because a lot of times clients come in, they're like, oh, I'm going to lose 3 pounds a week, every week. It doesn't work that way, because the only way it would work that way is if you're committed to following a very strict ketogenic diet, which some people choose to do. But a lot of people say, I want to have a little bit of fruit and I want to have a little bit of this. So if we're having a little bit of everything, it is going to move a little slower. Is it more sustainable? Absolutely. It's a more sustainable way of eating, because when you finish this, we still have to eat these foods, right? So the goal is, while we're here on the little training wheels, I'm teaching you and you're learning good habits, planning your meals. You have to have 3 go-to breakfasts, 3 go-to lunches, and 3 go-to dinners, so that you have a concept of, hey, I got home at 7 o'clock. I got to eat something, but I know what I can eat in a minute. I can have some canned tuna. I know what to do there, or I have some frozen meatballs. I can defrost those real quick. So you have to have go-to meals, because the easiest thing that people will do is not eat. You don't have to. You're not hungry. It's very easy not to eat. And that's how you start cannibalizing your muscle mass. And that's really bad, because losing muscle is one thing, but gaining it back is a totally different thing, right? That's, you're at the gym lifting weights every day. And so those are the things that I really, in my clinic, we have a great InBody, we have a great scale. Some of you have seen them, but they look at the muscle, they look at the fat, they look at everything. So holistically, we're looking at the whole body. And if somebody, I'm like, are you eating? Oh no, I can see when people aren't eating. I can see when they're not drinking water. If you have a lot of nausea and you don't know how to fix it, you will get sick. And eventually you go, I don't want to take these meds. It's not the meds. You're not doing the work, right? You got to drink the water. You have to take really good electrolytes, because they will tend to dehydrate you, right? If you're constipated, you need to figure out a way of how to stay regular, right? And so these are the things that if nobody tells you, you don't know what to do, you're feeling terrible while you're on them, you're not doing well, and the result might not be the ones that you would have gotten otherwise, right? And so those are like my takeaway. The other thing is really, the coaching is key, because what I find with my clients, they don't feel like they're doing this by themselves, right? So when they come in, people go, this is what I have going on. And then I help them figure out a menu plan and really just getting you to from one step to the other. And then at the end of the day, where are we going to go from here? So when you lose the 30 pounds and you have these big wins, great. But also when things are not going well, not to quit. Because like Dr. Roy said, your body has set points, and getting past, if you always weigh 180 pounds and you get to 170, 179, you're like, oh my God. And then you get to 169. Just getting through these decades and these set points are not easy. And age plays a big role in it. So that's something that, age, perimenopause, menopause. I mean, oh my God, it's like another world of navigation. And so I always tell people, you have to have somebody guide you and help you, so we can kind of troubleshoot it together. And the key is to write the right protein. It's not just eating chicken and meat. You have to get enough protein. Dr. Roy is a big proponent of 100 to 120 grams of protein a day. Try getting that in a day. It's very difficult, and you will not be able to chew it all. Okay, you just cannot. So you're going to need meal replacements, and you need really good ones, right? You don't want to just get something at Costco and hope that it works. So you want to have really good meal replacements, like shakes or bars or chips, things that really work for you. Supplementation, critical, critical. Blood work is a main component of how we do this, right? And why is that? Because we have people that are B12 deficient, vitamin D3 deficient. There's a lot of deficiency that we have. Sometimes it could be anemia. So you want to make sure that you're having supplements to go with this. When you take away a lot of food out of your diet, you're leaving a big gap, basically like a pothole. And if you don't have good supplementation in there, what you're creating is a deficiency. And the people that are doing the work inside our bodies are these tiny little cells, and they're like the hard workers. And if they're not getting food that only comes in micronutrients, they're not going to function well. You're going to be hungry, you're going to be exhausted. Fatigue is a real thing on these medications. So fatigue is something that people say, oh my God, it's 4:30 and I need a nap. I go, I know. So we got to work on electrolytes, making sure you're getting enough sodium, because the more water you drink, the more you pee. And the more you pee, the more salt you excrete. So these are all these things that as a team, we teach our clients and our patients how to do well, so that you can have the best experience possible while we're doing this. And really, these side effects and all these things are very manageable. Like I tell people, don't get discouraged. If you're with a good coaching team, doctors, we love doctors, except you're the best. But a lot of doctors give people these medications and they go on your way. I'll see you in 3 months. And they're suffering. Nobody's helping them. So these are the things that I feel like you really need that hand holding. And last but not least, because we have the compounded format, we can microdose, we can make the doses smaller. We can, like Dr. Roy said, we can stay on these doses longer, smaller if they're working. We're not going to move people. Why? We don't want to desensitize your body. A lot of times, the higher the dose, the body becomes desensitized. So what it does is, well, I don't respond to that anymore. I need more. And more doesn't mean better. More doesn't mean that if you take a higher dose, it's going to work any better. It just means you're less hungry. And then you're not eating at all. So I tell people, no, if you're already not hungry, why would we up the dose so you can be less hungry? That's not the point. We got to work the diet. What's happening? What are you eating? And exercising, it can be minimal. I tell people 60 minutes a week, 60 minutes a week, not a day. So that's 20 minutes 3 times a week. That can be some strength training, easy stuff. I taught one of my clients, get some bands, do some squats with the bands. You can do easy lunges, your own body weight. Carrying ourselves is enough. We don't need to add more. Light weights until you get to a point, and walking, the weather's finally cooperating. So, 30-minute walks, make walking a sport. I tell people you don't have to run, just walk every day and really hydrate, lots of water. It begins and ends with water. If, it's the only way really to stay healthy and detox our bodies to avoid some of the things that go on. And apart from that, and we have the supplements at our office. We have all the things that you need. We have the packages. So we have a lot of options. So like I said, whenever we're done with this, any questions, obviously let us know, but we'll walk you through what needs to be done down the road. And I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. So again, you can drop questions in the chat, but I'm going to introduce our third speaker here in just a moment, but I wanted to comment on a couple things. So when you're not doing it right, when you're losing too fast and you're cannibalizing your muscle, you've heard of Ozempic face, where the face gets really drawn and you're like, ooh, you're not looking so good. Your hair can fall out. So there's a lot, but it doesn't have to be that way. And microdosing really is the name of the game, and especially when you're going into the maintenance piece, because that's where you can begin to be, weaned down, but slow and steady wins the race. I also wanted to mention before I forgot, when Dr. Roy was talking about inflammation, is that they're also showing inflammation can be reduced in the brain. So huge for dementia, things like that. So these are really game changer medications that have been around a long time. They're just now being brought out more for weight loss. And it's so important to be getting them from credible sources. You don't want to be getting it. You don't know where some of these places are getting it. China, we don't know. We don't know. You want a good doctor, a good team, and a good pharmacy, which we all know how to help you with that. So now I want to introduce our third speaker, Martine Crippen. She is another weight loss clinic owner and fabulous, has been working with clients for many years, and she is going to touch a little bit more on micronutrition and a little bit of epigenetics, if you don't know what that is. So take it away, Martine.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here today on this. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So it's really interesting. I've been a clinic director for over 12 years, and I've been asked the same question like the first week I was in business to even last week. And people will say, hey, I read about this. What about that? Right? People always looking for the hottest and neatest thing. And I've been saying the same thing for 12 years. If there was something better, not only would I have it in the clinic, I would be on it. Well, guess what? I have GLP-1 in the clinic and I'm on it. Now, I have to be honest, when I first heard about GLP-1s, I said, there's just no way. I did some weight loss medication in the 90s. If you guys are old enough to remember fen from 30 years ago, harmed a lot of people. So I was like, yeah, no way. And I personally lost 70 pounds on ideal protein. So nutrition is the way to go. But then I did some research. And one of the key pieces is that people don't realize GLP-1 is a peptide hormone that our body makes. This is natural. Now, I'm an advocate for replacing hormones as we age and we lose our hormones. We start to feel bad. Men supplement testosterone, women can supplement estrogen and progesterone, and it helps the body function. Well, GLP is key, as Dr. Roy was talking about. It's how energy gets in the cell. It's how we regulate blood sugar. And when I really started to realize it, I would realize that clients would come in and say, you know, I never had a weight problem. My 40s, late 40s, early 50s now, I just can't lose weight. I'm gaining weight. It's the GLP-1. And so what we're doing is we're supplementing it. But it's a tool in our arsenal. We have to be nutritionally driven. And since GLP-1s can make us not as hungry, protein forward, which is Anna will tell you, eat your protein first. If you can, fit in your vegetables, but get your protein in. So nutrition drives health. You're healthy if you're eating well. And nutrition comes in two forms, macro and micro. But I want you to think about this. Alzheimer's, huge epidemic. I'm a boomer. It's diabetes of the brain. That's what Alzheimer's is. We can medicate people or we can put them in a ketogenic protocol and now their brain's working. They're so insulin resistant, the cells are dying in their brain. POS, young women struggling with fertility. It's diabetes of the reproductive system. They took a group of women who were struggling with POS and infertility, put them on the ideal protein protocol, 80% got pregnant. So our nutrition drives our health. And here's the key, whether we're in maintenance or whether we're in losing mode, nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. And when I say weight loss, I'm also meaning fat loss, right? The number on the scale is just a number. It could reflect 5 pounds of water, 5 pounds of lean mass. We want it to be 5 pounds of fat. And so nutrition comes in two forms, macro and micro. The grocery store is our macronutrition. What's really sad is most of the food in the grocery store you should not be eating, and it's designed to addict you. Sorry to say. You heard them say, shop the exterior or the outer rim of the store, seafood, meats, vegetables. We have to learn how to eat to lose. We have to learn how to eat to maintain. And yes, you can enjoy yourself and you can indulge once you've lost your weight, but you have to learn how to eat properly in order to manage that. What's great about the GLP-1 is that noise we hear with food, with cravings, even with people who know I shouldn't have wine every night, but I have to have it. The GLP-1 helps with that. But let's talk micronutrition. Now, I'm so old that when I was a kid, I didn't need to think about micronutrition, which is vitamins, it's minerals, right? That was all in my food. I grew up on a farm. I ate farm to table, right? We ate our animals and we ate our vegetables. My grandmother threw cow manure all over her flowers. They were gorgeous. She threw cow manure all over her vegetables, and I had all those that bio that I need. But your body does millions of chemical processes every second of every day. And what does it use to do those processes? Vitamins, minerals, right? All of those key ingredients. And that's where micronutrition comes in. There are probably twice as many people as when I was born, and our soils are depleted. So the food we eat, if it doesn't feel like it's satiating you, because it's not, all the components that were in there are no longer there. Europe, thank God, they're still farm to table over there, right? Their civilizations are thousands of years old, but we're a new country. We're big. Food's mass produced. And so where do we go for micronutrition? Well, we brought a line in, and let me see if I can share my screen here with you. We brought a line in called, let's see here, share. 3 International. 3 International is an amazing line. And I know it's super amazing because I keep selling out of this one here, Vitality. There's 6 products here. Vitality is your multivitamin pack. You get 30 of them in a box, and it has all of your vitamins that you would need. It has your minerals, all your essential minerals. You know, we as women, as we age, our bones are a key thing, right? Oh, I need calcium. You know, your bone's made of 12 minerals, not just calcium. In order for calcium to be absorbed to make new bone in your body, you need other minerals working with it. It has all of your greens and all your essences from fruit are all in the Vitality. It will also give you energy. Again, I experimented on myself before bringing this in. And after being on the Vitality about 3 weeks, I noticed, oh my God, I'm not getting tired. People say, what's in here? Caffeine? I go, no. And that's why it goes off the shelf. It goes off the shelf because people are feeling a difference from it. We have collagen. This is a super high quality collagen. It actually has changed my sleeping pattern. The collagen, it's a liquid, it's a packet. You do it once a day, you do it for 10 days. If you do collagen all the time, your body will quit producing it. So we want to stimulate it, joints, not just our face, but joints and ligaments necessary. Eternal, super antioxidant. It helps kind of clean up. Eternal is amazing. It's got glutathione, and if you take it too late in the day, it'll keep you up at night. That's how much energy you can get from it. Immune is boosting up our immune system, perfect for travel, especially in the wintertime. I take it all the time. Actually, I take all of these every day. Revive, I'm going to revisit Revive in just a second, but the turmeric and curcumin, it helps your joints. I have arthritis that has developed in my thumbs. I went to a hand specialist. He gave me a brace, and I thought, oh, wow, this brace, ugly looking, but it helps my pain go away. So I quit taking the Revive, and the pain came back. It wasn't the brace. This took away arthritic pain, like 96% from my thumb joints. And then there's Purify. The body has 5 organs that detox and cleanse. One of the reasons we like to fast over the night, intermittent fasting, is so the body, when it's not digesting food, it can actually cleanse itself. Well, the Purify is going to cleanse the organs that cleanse the body. So all of these are vitally important. But another key piece is absorption. It's not what you take, it's what you absorb. So if I go to the store, Costco, GNC, or Vitamin Shop, and I buy a vitamin, it's great. Well, not necessarily. The majority of the vitamins, I would say 90% on the market today, are synthetics. They're byproducts of different processes, and they turn them into vitamins. So what you want to do, if you're looking for really good micronutrition, which is bitty food, you're going to want to go with an organic. 3 International is actually in a PDR. A PDR used to be called the Physician's Desk Reference. I think they've retitled it to the Provider's Digital Reference. It's the book if a doctor goes to write you a prescription that has all the pills in it. Well, the 3 International products are they're sourced domestically, but they're so pure and effective, they're actually in the PDR. Now, if you look here at this study snapshot, it's showing you the absorption of the 3 products. Now, on the far left, you'll see the standard organic control molecule. 10% of a standard organic vitamin, this is not even thinking about synthetics, but your standard organic, only 10% is absorbed. That's very small. But look across the board at 3 International. The Purify is 88. The Eternal I talked about, 95% absorbed. 40% on both the Immune and Vitality, and 30% with Revive, and 73% with the collagen. So they're very, very powerful, and this is why I can't keep them on the shelf, because people are actually feeling the difference. But I want to talk about something that Jen just mentioned, which is the epigenetic studies. So your genes is your DNA. It's the software of your body, right? And it's what makes us work. It's what gives us blonde hair and green eyes and black hair. It makes us tall or small. But the key piece is that there are good genes and bad genes. And you can have 2 identical twins, and one gets cancer and one doesn't. Why? Lifestyle. So lifestyle really, really does affect that. And so what we want to do is we want to down-regulate the bad genes and up-regulate the good genes, right? Turn on the good, turn down. How do we do that? Through nutrition. Funny how we keep coming back to that, isn't it? Nutrition. So guess what? Sugar's cancer's favorite food. So if we look here, these are different key genes. And you can see that here's the Vitality upregulating these genes. These 2 here are dealing with inflammation, and these others deal with a variety of other subjects, which I really won't get into. But here's what I want to point out. Look at the GLP1. By taking Vitality, you're increasing your body's ability to produce this gene by 348%. That is the power of micronutrition. This, when I learned this, blew me away. You know, I brought these supplements in 2 years ago, and I knew they worked, and I knew people loved them. I didn't really know why, but when I started to do my research and I saw this, I'm like, ah, energy to the cell, of course. Now look at Revive, which is below that. Again, we're down regulating the two genes that are inflammatory, but look, GLP-1, 293%. So between Vitalite and Revive, almost 650% upregulation of a gene that your body naturally produces. So whether you're on the GLP-1s or you're thinking about it, at least for sure get your micronutrition in, because you're boosting your body's ability to produce that hormone naturally. So again, all we're doing is supplementing it, and you can see down here the other products are up regulating and down regulating these genes. So I don't know if anyone has any questions on this, but I can't emphasize enough the power of nutrition. It can help you get pregnant, keep you from getting dementia, and help you burn fat. You just have to do it in the right combination. And again, micronutrition, whether it's in the burning mode or in the maintenance mode, but definitely all the time. You have to eat all the time. You need micronutrition all the time. Oh, and just in closing, one really cool thing is you can take the Vitality packet on an empty stomach first thing in the morning and not get nauseous or sick to your stomach. Vitamins always bother me, okay? And when they said that, I said, fine, tomorrow I'm going to take empty stomach. I'm going to get nauseous, and I'll be the one person it doesn't work for. It worked. It's amazing. That's because they're whole foods, and you can't overdose on them because they're whole foods that are in like microform. So there we go.
Yes, thank you, Martine. That was awesome, awesome. And I too am one of those who can't take the most supplements on an empty stomach. Oh, bleh. But these, no problem. And the Vitality also has the omega in it, and we've all had the fish burps. No fish burps.
None.
It's
And it has
fabulous.
all of the omegas, Jennifer, not just
Yes.
3, but all of them.
Yes. So very powerful. Again, the nutrition piece is so important. So we have presented you with a lot of information. If anyone has a burning question, now is your moment. But if you don't, that's fine. It's a lot of information to digest. But what I would encourage you to do, if this intrigues you, interests you, you want to learn more, then please go back to the person that invited you to this webinar and set up a call. They can talk about you directly and what's going on with you and see if this is a fit for you. Again, it's a very powerful tool. We're here tonight just to tell you, what it really is all about, because there's just a lot of chatter out there that can be very negative and scary, but it doesn't have to be. It can be done really well. So I don't see any questions in the chat. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank our presenters. I want to thank you guys, and we will be sending out the recording, so you'll get another opportunity to listen to it again if you'd like. And again, I just encourage you to go back to who invited you if you'd like to get more information. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.